Hey everybody, my name is Nathaniel Dodson from tutvid.com. Welcome right into this Photoshop tutorial where today we're going to create this really cool PlayStation 4 controller. It's glowy, it's colorful, it's all kinds of awesome. We're going to cover it all here in Photoshop. This was inspired by a post on Instagram I saw that the credit goes back to somebody. Their Instagram handle is Ilya Shopko, and I'm going to make sure I link them here in the bio to this video if you want to go check out other work that they've done. But it's really cool. I thought it was neat, so I was like, you know what, let me take a crack at that and let's make it in Photoshop. So that's what we're going to do. Now, if you use Discord, we just set up a Discord server. It's pretty new, and we'd love to have you come over and join us. It's a fun place. We're a bunch of nice people over there, I think, at least for the most part, and we have a lot of fun. It'd be cool to see you there. And also, if you enjoy this video, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel so you never miss any graphic design, photography, Photoshop-related videos in the past, present, or future. Let's jump into this thing and check it out right now. All right, so here we are in Adobe Photoshop, and I've got a new document that is sized 2560 by 1440, as you see right there. I'm going to go ahead and add a solid color layer by hitting this little half black, half white circle. Choose solid color, and I'm going to change the hexadecimal code here to 060412. So it's just this very deep, rich blue color. I'm going to hit OK there. This is going to be our background. I can hold down my Alt-Option key, double-click the background layer, and drag that to the garbage to just get rid of it. Now I'm going to grab my Ellipse Tool, so that's right over here, Ellipse Tool, and I'm going to make sure that it's set to draw a shape. I'm going to click a single time, and I'm going to create an ellipse here that's 350 by 350. 350 by 350, there we go. I'm going to place it right there in the middle. It's just black, so it's hard to see. I'm going to swap it to white so we can just see it, and we'll get our positioning down, and then we'll start changing some colors here. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to go choose Select All. And then up here with my Move tool selected, this is the Move tool right here, we've got our alignment features. We're just going to align this horizontally and vertically to the middle of our document. I'll hit Command or Control D to deselect, and then immediately I'm going to hold down Shift and just drag this upward. Then I'm going to hold down the Alt-Option key and drag downward, and I'm also going to hold Shift. That way it will align it perfectly with the shape on top of it, right? I can select both these shapes over here in the Layers panel by shift-clicking. Maybe I'll drag them upward a little bit more. I think that's good. I'm going to open my Properties panel here, and well, maybe Properties panel might not be the best place to do this. Let's change our foreground color here. I'm going to change it to 4009A0. It's kind of this rich, bluish, purpley color. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to select each of these ellipses one at a time and hit Option-Delete. That will be Alt-Backspace on the PC, and I'm just going to change the fill. I'm also going to change the stack here in the layers, so the one that's on top is the top layer. Now what I'm going to do is select both of these shape layers, hold down the Alt-Option key, and drag over, and then just drag them downward a little bit, kind of like that. And then I'm going to hold my Alt-Option key and drag straight across. This time hold down Shift, and we're going to try to position it somewhere about the same. It does not have to be perfect. In fact, if it's a little off, that might be better for what we're working on. Now for these two ellipses here that we created that are over on the right-hand side, let's change the color of these here. I'm going to do this again the fast way by just changing my foreground color and filling using the hotkey. So I'm going to go E7152B. There we go, and you can see we got this nice red color. Option-Delete, that'll be Alt-Backspace on the PC, fill both of those. And then for the ellipses on the other side, we're going to go with like a lighter blue here. So I'm going to go 397BE7. There you go, just a little bit of a lighter blue. Option-Delete, Alt-Backspace once more, boom. And we have this nice little pattern of shapes. Doesn't look like much, but it's going to be something special in just a moment. Let's shift-click each set of matching ellipses, right-click, and choose to convert it to a smart object, right? There's one. Let's go with the reds here, right-click, convert to smart object, and then with these darker bluish-purple ones, convert to smart object. All right, great. Maybe I'll drag the bluish-purple one to the middle so it kind of, is in a little bit of an order there. And then I'm going to select these layers, these smart objects, one by one, and go Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and apply a 100-pixel Gaussian Blur. You can see it's given us this, like, almost peanut shape. I can just hit Command or Control F to bring up the Gaussian Blur at 100 pixels for both of the remaining two smart objects. There we go. You can see we have this kind of cool glowing thing going on in the background. Very neat. Now what I'm going to do is go out to my Finder, and I just Googled and found an image of a PlayStation controller. And this, this does the trick, right? So I'm just going to drag this in, and we're going to use this as kind of our shaper and sizer. So we're going to draw the entire thing out, but we need something to ensure that we're kind of relatively close. And instead of sketching it out, I just decided, you know what, I'm going to go get an image. So what we'll do is we'll grab the pen tool. Now we don't want to create shapes. We actually want to work with paths, and we're going to convert the shapes later. I just want to get all the paths right, and then we'll worry about converting the shapes and glowing and all that other stuff later. Now, if you're in a newer version of Photoshop, you can change the color and thickness of your path line. I might push this up to about 2 pixels, but I think I'll stick with the default blue just because that's kind of what I'm used to seeing. So we'll zoom in here. We want to split the main body of the controller in two. So we're going to grab the pen tool, I'm going to begin right here. I'll just pull this over a little bit, and let's come up over on top of where the L button would be, and then we'll bring this guy down along the side here, maybe to about right here, and we'll pull this up. We really want this to be nice and beautifully rounded, so it doesn't have to exactly contour to the PlayStation controller, but we kind of we do want it to be nice and rounded, and it doesn't even really matter if it's incredibly accurate or incredibly perfectly mirrored, because again, the way this design is going to work for us, it's just going to work out really nicely, kind of no matter how we play this. I'm going to hold down my Alt-Option key and just retract this little Bezier handle a little bit, just so I can get a little bit of a curve going on here, just into that corner, right? And then we're just going to make, kind of a big old random blobby shape out here, and then just join it off right where we began. So this will be our first shape. Now, before we do anything, I should probably drag my paths panel out over here so we can see what we're working on. And I'll double-click to save this work path. I'll call this left side or something like that. Then we'll go over, of course, and do the right side. So I'll begin in kind of the same area. Yeah, I'll hold down Alt-Option, join those off, and I'll pull the path around. Something like that. So it doesn't, you can see like we're missing technically part of the controller there. It doesn't really matter. We're just kind of having some fun with it. You can go to your direct selection tool and you can select like this handle here, and we can pull and adjust it a little bit if we think we need to adjust it. Maybe not quite like that. That might have been a little extreme, right? So I'll just try to swing it around a little bit, maybe something like that. And there we go. So we have our first two sides. Now you can see something interesting happened here. Partially because I wasn't paying very close attention. But we have this kind of joined path happening, and the left side is now the only side. That's a problem. Here's what we want to do. Take the path selection tool and hover over and drag a selection, actually, over the right side of the path. And we're going to cut this off of here. So go Edit, Cut, and you can see now we're back to left side. Good. And there we go. I had to have the bottom of my paths panel pop back into place there for me. Go ahead and hit the New Path button down here, and then just hit Command or Control V, or you can go Edit Paste, and it will paste that path right back into place. And of course, we can double-click here, and this can be called right. I don't know if I can spell right correctly. Right side. Now, I'm noticing a problem here. This is not going to look all that great. We need to fix that. So let's go back to our white direct selection arrow, and let's select this, and just pull this over. We really want that to be more like a nice bump where it should be. Yeah, kind of probably a little bit more like that. And you can use your direct selection tool and come in. And these kind of adjustments are really important to make, just so you make sure you get a nice base selection. But again, like I said, it does not have to be incredibly perfect by any stretch of the imagination. All right, so we have our first two paths. Now what I'll do is zoom in, and we want to create the circle or the base on which the buttons on both sides sit. So let's grab our ellipse tool. Once more, we'll set this to draw a path. We want to go ahead here and just click a single time and choose to create a 310 by 310 sized ellipse. You can see now we've got a new path. That's great. We're going to use our path selection tool. This is the black arrow. And we'll just drag this over and kind of put it in place. We can sort of align it right over our image. That looks good. And I'll just name this left flat or something. I don't know. We can give them whatever names we want. And then we'll copy this. And we can create a new path, sort of new path layer, paste it in place, Command or Control V, and then we'll just select and drag this guy right over to the other side because we need another flat underneath our other buttons, of course. And we can just, of course, double-click and name this right flat. We'll deselect that path. We're going to grab the ellipse tool once more, and I'm going to click, and we're going to create a 225 by 225, not 255, 225 ellipse. All right, there we go. And this is going to be the area that holds the little control pad, the analog stick, if you will. So I'm going to grab the path selection tool again. By the way, I'm just going to be using the hotkey A to grab this, and this allows me to click and drag these paths around. Now, I want to kind of position this knowing that this path is running all the way up to here. I want there to be a little bit of a gap. In fact, if I look at my reference image, I can see that I have a little bit of a gap in there. I kind of want to retain that. I don't want it to be quite as close as it is in real life. So I'm more than happy just kind of setting this out here. It's just wherever I put it on this side, I want to make sure I do the same for the other side. So let's go ahead and copy this. Well, let's name the work path, I guess, first. Let's name this right stick. There we go. And I'll create a new, well, let's copy it first, and then I'll create a new sort of path layer. Copy it, Command or Control C, create a new path layer, Command or Control V to paste it in place, and then drag while holding Shift, drag it right over, kind of something, whoop, hello. Let's try that again. Drag it while holding Shift, right over, something kind of like that, and then let's name this left stick. There we go. And now to actually get what's going to become the stick in our little illustration, let's copy one of these paths again. So just select that one. Let's go Command or Control C. Let's create a new layer, Command or Control V to paste it in place. And I'm going to use my properties panel here, and we're going to resize this sucker. We're going to resize it. Well, let's hit the little chain link icon. That way we only have to type the number in once. We're going to go 140 by 140. And we want to align this perfectly within our other circle. So how do we do that? Well, we should probably actually cut it off of this sort of a path layer and paste it back onto the other layer, align them, and then break it out onto its own path layer. Let me show you how to do that. So select this path. We go Edit, Cut. So boom. Yep, it's going to turn into a live shape. Fine, no worries. I'm going to go back to left stick right here and Command or Control V to paste it. And then I can select both of these paths, and using my path alignment, I can say, look, align to selection. These two paths are selected. We can go horizontal edges and we can go vertical edges. So there we go. Now this is in the very center. And once I've got that, I can select, I can select the center path. I can cut it off of this path layer once more, Edit, Cut, go back down. Live shape. Can't forget. I probably should shut that dialog box off. Let's select path number 1 here, Command or Control V to paste it in place. And we're going to call this guy left analog. There we go. And let's basically do the same thing for the right analog stick. So I'll just select that. I'll copy it. And the first thing I'm going to do, you might think create a new path layer. No. Let's go up to right stick first, paste it into this. You can see here it is. It's still over here in its place. No worries. Hold down Shift, select the right stick path, and we're going to go ahead and align once more. Go ahead and align that. See how it's pulling to the center? Don't worry. We're going to drag these guys right back over, right into place, just kind of something like that. And then we'll select the shape in the middle, or the path in the middle, as it is right now. Edit, Cut. And now, after, you know what? Don't show it again. There we go. I've learned my lesson. I'm going to create a new path layer. I'm going to name this one Right Analog. And we're going to paste this Command or Control V, just like that. Let's go ahead and draw out the path for the touchpad now. So the touchpad, let's just leave our properties panel there. Why don't we? I'm going to grab the rounded rectangle tool for this. Once more, make sure we're drawing a path. I can again click a single time. I should probably just deselect my path. There we go. I'm going to click a single time, and I'm going to go with a 450 by 250 shape, and I'm going to give it 45 pixel rounded corners. Let's go 45, 45, 45, just like that. Hit OK. And there's our shape. We can double click to name this touchpad or something like that. And I'm going to hit the letter A to grab my path selection tool. Let's move this guy up into place where we think it's going to, where he should kind of live. There we go. I think that'll work. Let's also, while we're talking about the rounded rectangle tool, create the paths for the L and R buttons. So grab the rounded rectangle tool. Let's deselect that path. We're creating new fresh paths for all of this stuff, by the way. We're going to go 160 by 30. And this one is going to have, 45 is probably fine. It's going to be super rounded, whatever way we slice it. So this is what I want. And we're going to drag this up and kind of put it where it looks like it should go. When we create the shapes, we can really fine tune the adjustments. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Let's name this path R. Actually, I'll name it R button. It's kind of something like that. And then we will copy it, Command or Control C, and then I'll create a new path layer, Command or Control V to paste it in place, and hold down Shift while you drag it over just to keep it in a straight line. And let's name this guy L button. There we go. And now let's create these square, triangle, circle, X buttons. So I'm going to grab the Ellipse tool. I'm going to click, I'm going to deselect. Got to make sure we deselect there. We're going to select that, and I'm going to click a single time, and I'm going to go with a 90 by 90 ellipse. I'm going to hit A, which is going to give me my path selection tool, and I'm going to drag this up and just kind of drop it over the triangle button. That'll be the triangle button, obviously. And I can even select and just name this triangle. Triangle, if I can spell correctly. There we go. And I can hold down my Alt or Option key and drag like a copy of this path down. But you can see what it's going to do is it's going to leave the path there in the triangle sort of path layer. That isn't going to be a problem in this case because these shapes are all going to be styled exactly the same. We're not going to be actually putting square, circle, triangle into here. So I think I'm actually okay with that. In fact, I'll grab both shapes. I'll go Command or Control C to copy, and then Command or Control V to paste. So there's two copies of these paths stacked up on top of each other. We can go Edit, Free Transform Path, hold down Shift, and find that little rotatey arrow, and just rotate until they are perfectly at 90 degrees to our original path. And you can see now that path contains 4 little circles, and we can change this to, circle X buttons. How about something like that? Now we have the slightly trickier buttons to create, and that's these arrow buttons, but hang with me here. We'll figure this out. Let's go ahead and grab the rounded rectangle tool. I deselected my square, circle, X buttons, and I'm going to click a single time, and I'm going to create a 70 by 70 square with 20 pixel rounded corners. I'm going to hit OK here, place this. I'll grab my path selection tool, that's the hotkey A, and I'll drag this up, kind of drag it into place. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just going to kind of grease it up a little bit here and slide it where we think it needs to go. And then I'm going to add to this. So I'm going to click another time, and I'm going to go with a 53 by 53 rounded rectangle. And this one's only going to get 10 pixel rounded corners. And here I'll hit OK. You can see here this is part of the same work path. No problem. Let's hit Command or Control T. That's going to be the free transform path. And we only have this one path here on this path layer selected, so that's fine. Hold down Shift and just rock this guy until we rotate it 45 degrees. Great. And now I'm going to grab my path selection tool, hotkey A. I'm going to drag this up, and maybe I'll even zoom in on this a little bit. I really want to try to line this up as closely as possible. So I can use my arrow keys. I can nudge the path. I can really get it moved exactly into where I think it has to go to make a perfectly aligned path. Command or Control T here again. I can just crunch down the path a little bit if I have to make sure that I'm just looking to make sure these joints line up as close to perfectly as possible. And then using the path selection tool, drag a selection over both of these little shapes. Come up here to the path operations panel, or option menu, I should say, and choose Merge Shape Components. And there we go. Look at that. We've got a nice little arrow button. And now we'll do exactly what we did before. Let's zoom out. Let's hold down the Alt or Option key and drag a copy of this straight down. Now, of course, we need to flip this, right? So we can hit Command or Control T to free transform the path, right-click within it, and choose to flip vertical, just like that. And then use our arrow key and just nudge it into place, kind of like that, I think. And, I'm actually going to nudge it back one so it remains in a straight line. I don't care if we're slightly off the photo. Then select both of these, Command or Control C, Command or Control V to paste in place, and then Command or Control T to free transform, hold down Shift, and rotate these suckers so they are 90 degrees from the original. And now we have our buttons and our little square, circle, triangle buttons, both on their own layer, those path layers, I should say. I'm going to double click and I'm going to name this arrows or something like that. And then I'm going to back out. And, well, we can admire our handiwork, but we really haven't done anything visual yet. We've simply laid a very strong foundation, and we're about to get pretty visual. So let's shut off the PS4 controller layer, and we can deselect our paths. Hey, what happened? We don't see anything. Don't worry. What we're going to do is select the left side first, and I've got the path selected, and I'm going to go Layer, New Fill Layer, Solid Color. And we can call it left side if we want. I'm not going to because we can see what it is over here in the layers panel just to save a little bit of time. We can fill it with whatever color we want. The color doesn't matter right now because we're going to double click on this layer. That will open the layer styles here. And the first thing we're going to do is reduce the fill opacity down to 0%. See, I told you the fill color didn't matter. And then we're going to go ahead and add an inner glow, not an inner shadow, but an inner glow. And here for the inner glow, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to set the blend mode to screen, I'm going to set the opacity to 100%, I'm going to set the color to, hang with me here, 7F DAE2. It's a very, very light aqua green-blue color, and we're going to increase the size here to 165 pixels. So you can see what we're getting. We're getting this crazy shape. I'm going to hit OK. Now here's part of the cool thing about having this vector shape layer. See, we could come in here and say, you know what, the bottom of this controller just is not right. So I could take my direct selection tool and I could select that and say, yep, there's the culprit. All right, let's go ahead and fix this. Maybe we need to round this off a little bit more. Maybe what we need to do is pull this down a little bit more, something like that. Or what we could do is pull this handle out a little. And the whole effect is live. It'll update on the spot and it'll just look great. So you can play around with things like that. And it's still not perfect, but the point is you can make adjustments. So now we'll grab the right side. We'll do the same thing. Layer, New Fill Layer, Solid Color. Any old color will work. We're going with blue for this side. Double click on the layer out here to open Layer Styles. Reduce the fill opacity to nothing. I'm going to move the layer style down here so you can see what's going on. And we're going to go Inner Glow. Once more, we'll go Screen, but this time we're going to change the color. So I'm going to select the color stop. And again here, follow with me. We're going to go D5, 0, 8, and then we're going to go 2F for the final. So it's this kind of hot pink red color, and I'm going to hit OK. And we have the base of our controller. Let's go ahead and hit the touchpad next. So I'm going to grab the touchpad. Once more, I'll go Layer, New Fill Layer, Solid Color, of course. We know the routine at this point. Any old color works. Why? Because we're going to double click out here. That's going to open Layer Styles. And of course, we're going to reduce fill opacity to 0. I'm going to give this guy an inner glow as well. Now this inner glow I'm going to set to the blend mode of overlay because we want this to really interact in kind of a crazy sort of way. Opacity, once again, is going to be 100%. The color, though, is just going to be straight white for this inner glow. And you can see it does this crazy thing. I'm going to reduce the size here too down to 100 just to allow the shape of the touchpad to really kind of play. Now you could select the touchpad, you could nudge it downward a little bit if you wanted, or even nudge it upward if you wanted to maybe push it out. I think I kind of like that. It's adding a little bit of depth to the whole controller. I think I kind of dig what I see there. All right, now we'll go for the left flat. And once more, layer, new fill layer. We know the routine at this point. Now, here for this, I actually want to choose a specific color. That is white for that little layer. And I'm going to set this to a blend mode of overlay and just simply reduce the opacity to about 50%. So there we go, 50, 51%, that's fine. I'm going to select the right flat. We're going to do nearly the same thing. Layer, new fill layer, solid color. Yipper. We're going to go white with this guy as well. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to go with an overlay blend mode and an opacity of, you probably guessed it, 50%. All right, so now let's start laying the groundwork for the left and right stick holders. In fact, I'm going to go with the left stick holder first. Let's go layer. Let's go new fill layer, solid color. This can be any color we want, again, because we're just going to dump the fill opacity. Double click out here. Dump that fill opacity. Yeah, that's right. We're going to go ahead and add an inner glow here for this guy. Blend mode of overlay is perfect. 100% opacity is perfect. We're going to change the color, though. The color is going to be 7F DAE2, which is that same really light aqua seafoamy blue that we were using before. A size of 100 pixels is actually perfect for here. We're also going to go and apply a color overlay to this. The color overlay is going to be white. We're going to set it to a blend mode of soft light and leave it at 100% opacity. This is just going to give this little shape a little more va-va-voom. And last but not least, we're going to apply an outer glow, which is really going to act a little bit more like a shadow. We're going to go with the blend mode of normal. 20% might be a little strong. Let's knock it down to 15%. Leave the color at black and a size of not 15, but let's go 30. So there we go. We just get a little shadow action beneath that. Go ahead and hit OK there. Now I'm going to select the right stick, and we'll basically do the same thing. Layer, new fill layer, solid color, and hit OK there. Let's apply any old color. And I actually happen to know that this is going to be the same exact as the other layer. So what can we do? We can select this layer, and we can hold down our Alt or Option key, and we can drag that little FX icon and drop it on that layer. Now, it's not going to dump the fill opacity, which is why it looks so remarkably different. But we can just drag that fill opacity to get rid of it. Now, you may be looking at this saying, well, this looks a lot different than this, and it does, and that's because these sort of glass layers all interact one with another, and this reddish-pink color doesn't have the same brightness as this cyan, so of course it's going to act a little different. If you want to help try to match it up a little bit, you could pump a little bit of that fill back in there, but I like the difference. I like the unbalanced feel, the glassy nature, the imperfect, unfinished look. I love it. All right, let's grab the left analog stick itself. We'll go layer, new fill layer, solid color. Go ahead and hit OK. We can fill it with any old color and hit OK. Of course, we'll double click here. We'll dump the fill opacity as per usual. We're going to apply an inner glow here. So I'm going to go inner glow. I'm going to go overlay 100% opacity. The color is going to be a little different. The color is going to be FF, F9, and D4. So it's very kind of light yellowy color. It's going to be a size of only 40 pixels as well. So we're going to kind of rein that back in a little. Let's also give this a color overlay. So the color overlay, we're going to select this. Let's change the actual hex value first. This is going to be that same very light blue. So we're going to go 7F DAE2. And I'm going to set this to soft light, and the opacity will be 50%. And then lastly, of course, we'll apply an outer glow, which, again, is a little bit more like a shadow. So outer glow of normal blend mode, 15% opacity, color black, size of 30. Perfect. I love it. I'm going to hit OK. There's my first analog stick. All right, let's grab the right analog stick. Once more, layer, new fill layer, solid color, and I'll hit OK. Give it whatever I want. And this is going to have the same exact parameters, layer styles, I should say, as the other stick. So I'm just going to, once again, hold down Alt or Option, drag that FX up, and make sure I dump the fill opacity as well. All right, it's time to mess around with the R and L buttons. So let's go ahead and grab the R button first, because that's just right there. Why not? I'm going to go layer, new fill layer, solid color, and we can give this, as we've been doing the whole time, any stinking color we want. Reduce that fill opacity to 0. Double click, open up layer style. Hey, look at that. Fill opacity is already reduced to 0. Of course it is. Let's give this an inner glow. We got to be a little delicate with these guys because they're a little smaller here. So I'm going to set this to an inner glow of screen, or the screen blend mode, I should say. We're going to go like 35% opacity. The color here, FF, F9, D4 is exactly what we want, that very light yellow. And the size here, we need to knock this down quite a bit to like 15. So you can see what that's going to do. It's really going to just help temper what we've got happening there. But I'm also going to give this a little bit of a color overlay to help it stand out a little bit more. I'm going to set the color here to white. And it's going to be an overlay blend mode just to make it a little bit more intense. If I shut that off and turn it on, you can see what it does there. I'm going to hit OK. I think I'm going to nudge this up like 1, 2. maybe just one. Holding on shift and nudging with the up arrow key one time. I like where that sits. All right, I will grab the L button and we'll do the same thing. Layer, new fill layer, solid color. Okay. Any old layer. Getting a little repetitive, isn't it? Hold on the Alt or Option key here. We can just copy over that layer style. And of course, whoa, it looks so bad. Right, because we have to get rid of the fill opacity. There we go. And this guy, so it's lined up with the other one. Hold down shift and tap the up arrow key once as well. By the way, when I'm nudging things around with the arrow keys, I am using the move tool. So you just want to make sure you have the move tool selected. Okay, so it's time to create the O, X, the square and triangle buttons. There's circle. Why did I call it O? Because I'm reading Ox buttons. Square, circle, triangle buttons. We will go ahead and go layer, new fill layer, solid color, and you know the routine, right? Do I even have to say it again? Reduce that fill opacity, get into the layer styles. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go with an inner glow. We're going to select inner glow. Screen, we're going to bump the opacity up a little bit to like 40%. I like that. The color is perfect, that nice yellow color. I think we'll bump the size up to it. Let's double it. Let's go like 30, make these like nice soft buttons. And we'll also go with an outer glow, which of course is going to act like a shadow for us. Normal, let's bump it up maybe to like 20% opacity. And reduce the size to like 15. So it kind of plays nicely with what's going on around it. I think I kind of like that. Hit OK. And now here's the beautiful part. Let's grab our arrows. All right, we'll go layer, new fill layer, solid color. Choose any old color. You know, just to mix things up. I'm going to choose a different color because I'm sick of looking at that same shade of blue. I'm going to reduce my fill opacity. Hold down Alt or Option and drag the effects up because the same exact styling that went on the square, circle, triangle buttons will go also onto our little arrow key buttons. So at this point, obviously, we have the base of the controller down pat. I can select the PS4 controller image and just get rid of it because we absolutely don't need it. We can play around with the colors in the background and maybe move them around a little bit, see where they look best. We could go ahead and select this. I could even make it a little bit bigger, Command or Control T, and it's going to say, look, smart filters, that Gaussian blur, that 100-pixel Gaussian blur, it's going to be shut off temporarily, and no worries. I just want to make that blue a little bit bigger over there. Nothing wrong with that. Maybe even the purpley color in the middle, too. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Move it over just a touch as well, something like that. And then we'll grab the red, and we'll just shift the red over. I feel like there should be a little bit more red, too. The red we're just going to stretch straight out, though. We're not going to make it too much bigger in every direction. There we go, something like that. I think that's kind of cool. And here's where we play with some brushes and really build this effect out and make it really, really cool. Let's create a new layer here, and I'm going to call this Streaks. And I'm going to set this new layer to the blend mode of Color Dodge. Now I'm going to grab my brush tool. I'm going to right-click. And I don't want any of these grunge brushes or anything. I want a big, old, soft edge brush, kind of like this. I'll probably reduce the opacity of it to like 50%, just so I can control it a little bit better. And I'm going to set my foreground color to E4 581A. So it's kind of this orangey, right? And then I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to change the white here to the color 4A, 7B, AF. So it's kind of this bluish color. And now I can just dot with this brush kind of around the controller and add little explosive bits of interaction, color and light, and all kinds of goodness. I'll flip over to the orange. The orange obviously will be used to kind of accentuate the pink-red side of what we have happening. Maybe that's a little bit too much there. Something kind of like that. I think that's cool. So we can go there's before, there's after. We're just helping make this already rich, vibrant color explode even more. Now here's a cool little trick. Let's add another layer of effects. And I'm going to call this Streaks. I actually kind of jumped the gun here. This should just be called Spots or something like that. Well, Spot, that works. Here on the Streaks layer, I'm going to set this to the blend mode of Overlay. I am going to grab my brush tool once more. And this time I'm going to open my brush panel. So let's go Brushes. And we're going to choose a very small hard edge brush. So, well, not very small, but maybe like, I don't know, 12 pixels. Do you think that'll work? Let's just reset our foreground and background color. Let me get white in here. Yeah, that might be about the right size. We can close our brushes panel here. Let's toggle down our brush folder here so we get our brush settings panel. And in this, we want to increase the hardness to 100%. See the hardness slider right there? That's great. Then I want to come over here to Shape Dynamics, and I want to change the control. I don't need to change the size jitter, just the control. We're going to change to Fade, and we're going to say, look, man, fade out over the course of 250 brush dots that are laid down. So check out what this is going to do for us. I'm going to close my brush settings, and here on the Streaks layer, already set to Overlay, just click anywhere, hold down Shift, and click out here, and you can see it's going to give us this like streak of light moving in a direction. Now, I don't quite want one there. I think that'll work. Let's do like a random one over here, maybe one over here, maybe a couple coming out of the controller this way, right? That's kind of neat. Maybe one coming out over here. I'll do a couple over here. and then maybe like one more over here. You don't want to go too many. You go too crazy with this, and it's going to start looking overdone very, very quickly. Let me just grab my eraser tool and just get rid of those two spots really quick. Let's do one more streak over here. There we go, something like that. So I think that's kind of cool. I think that adds a little bit. Maybe I should do one more. One more, right? Just because it's so cool. Let's go ahead and add some depth to the overall image, some atmosphere. So I'm going to go ahead and add a layer here, and I'm going to call this Specs 1. I'm going to grab my brush tool, and here from my brush set, well, probably not brush settings, I'll just right-click here, and I'll choose, I have a lot of different sort of subtle texture brushes, things like that. I'm just going to grab one of these, and what I'll do is I'm going to paint, just click once right in the middle. You can see how it gives me this kind of like very subtle texture there. I could try setting this to something like overlay and see what that looks like. That's kind of neat. There's a little bit too much going on making sort of the controller dirty. So let's mask some of that away. Here's how we do that. We Command or Control click on the right side path and then Command or Control Shift click on the other part of the path. It loads the entire bulk of our controller as a selection. If we wanted to be perfect, we could Command Shift click left and right stick as well, and also the left and right, the L and R buttons, but really not really, because it's not going to quite take them all the way up to where we had them. We should Command or Control click out here in the layers panel, but whatever, this is close enough. And then what we can do is add a new layer, but hold down the Alt or Option key while we're adding a new layer, and it's going to just straight up hide all of that speckly stuff that would have been inside the controller to keep the controller looking clean, but add some texture around it. Now let's add some sort of foreground, middle ground, and background texture to really give this some shape. So I'm going to call this Back Texture. Once more, we'll grab the brush tool. I'm going to right-click. We don't quite want just an overarching giant brush like that. I think what I'll do is I have some cool splatter brushes. You can go into something like Brush Easy and find all kinds of really great splatter brushes. I'm going to make this pretty, well, not huge. I'm going to open up my brush settings as well because I want to go to brush tip shape and spread out the spacing so we don't have a ton of it. And then I can just kind of add some speckles and spots around the graphic, kind of like this, right? So we're just looking to add some visual interest. And we'll convert this layer to, well, let's see what soft light looks like. I think soft light will work there. We can add or adjust layer masks. By the way, I think I'm going to select this layer mask, hold down Alt or Option, and view the layer mask in its entirety, and then go Image Adjustments Levels. And I don't want the black to be solid black because I want to see a little bit of the texture, but just not all of it. So I'll boost the Output Black level, and that's going to take that black from solid black to, maybe like a really dark gray. So most of the speckles will be covered up, but not quite all of them. Hold down Alt or Option, click on the mask again, and we can just see a little tiny bit of that texture there. And the same thing here with this back texture. Maybe we add a little bit of blur to this. So we'll go Blur, Gaussian Blur. Maybe we'll give this like, I don't know, a 2-pixel blur, something like that. Hit OK. And then just Alt or Option and drag that mask up. And you can see a little tiny bit of texture through the controller, but not too much. Let's create some middle texture. This will be sort of the sharpest texture. So we'll go Middle Texture. And I think we'll use, maybe we'll use the same brush. I'll just make it a little bit smaller. And we'll just click a little bit around, kind of something like this. It's a lot of layers of a little bit that end up making one big difference. So we'll go something like that. Also, we'll set this to Soft Light. I think we'll leave this nice and sharp. And we'll Alt drag that same mask up. And then we'll do our foreground texture. So this will be the most blurred. So we'll go Foreground Texture. And I'm going to make the brush really big for this because, of course, this is stuff that technically is closest to the camera, so it should be the most blurry. But it also gives kind of the greatest depth. There we go. And we'll go Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And we got to be careful. We have to blur it enough that it really looks convincing, but not so much that it just completely disappears. So let's try like 5 pixels, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10, 12. Maybe we'll go 12, something like that, and hit OK. And once more, we'll set this layer to Soft Light. I think that looks good. We could drag the mask up, but I think for the foreground texture, because that's going to be in front of the controller, we'll just leave that just for added realism. I don't know that many people would notice it, but we'll do what we think is right. And then let's try something kind of fun here. So let's grab this middle texture and duplicate this layer, Command or Control J, and drag this up on top of everything else. Let's get rid of the mask by dragging it to the garbage for a quick second. We're going to say delete the mask, don't apply it, delete the mask. And with this texture, let's return it to the normal blend mode and maybe hit Command or Control J once more just to really intensify it. And then Command or Control E to merge those two layers together. All right, so this is still just a copy of that middle texture. And then we'll go Filter. We'll go blur. We'll choose Radial Blur. And let's choose a zooming Radial Blur and maybe go like 15 on the amount. Hit OK. And you can see we get these kind of like cool streakies. Hit Command or Control J once more, twice, maybe something like that. Select all these layers by shift-clicking and then hit Command or Control E to merge them together. And then set this to like a blend mode of overlay or maybe soft light. Maybe soft light will work better for what we have going on here. Yeah, I think I'm going to go soft light. And I might drag that same PlayStation mask back up to that layer. And looking at it, I might add just a tiny bit of Gaussian blur or maybe even motion blur. Let's go up, down, motion blur. Side to side is not going to work. Let's go up, down, motion blur and just a very little bit, like 5 pixels. To this. Maybe more than 5, maybe 10. 10's too much. Let's go like 6. 6. We'll settle with 6. That'll work. 6, just to help mix up those shapes a tiny bit more. All right, next up, I want to add some grain. So let's choose to add a new layer here. We're going to name this layer Grain, and I'm going to go Edit, Fill, and we're going to choose from the contents to fill with a 50% gray. The grain is just a nice blend. It helps blend everything together. In fact, I can drag my paths here. Let's get these out of the way. We've moved on from our paths. Let's go with the grain, and I'm going to just open up the Camera Raw filter, right? We're on the grain layer. Camera Raw filter, and we can just throw some nice chunky grain very quickly into this. So you can go like, give me some grain, give me some big grain, give me some rough grain, something like that. That's fine. And we'll convert this layer. Boom, soft light, there we go. Now you can see obviously way too much grain. It's destroying the image. You just want a very little bit, like 20% opacity, something like that. And you can see if I shut it off versus turn it on, it just helps give it some of that realistic looking texture and just helps your eye. It just helps make it feel more realistic. I think I also will just paste in one of my favorite type of selective color layers for something like this. We can open up and explore it. Basically what I'm doing is just coming into the neutrals, boosting cyans and reducing magentas and yellows a little bit, which adds this kind of blue effect. And I do roughly the same thing in the black channel. So just reduce blacks a very tiny bit, yellows a tiny bit, which helps flood blue in. See if I reduce yellows a lot, it just really pours the blue in. I'll boost a little magenta and cyan into it as well. Just a little tweak that I do to it there. And probably the last final step is just to add a little mid-tone punch to this image, as well as kind of edge sharpening in one step. So I'm going to do that by merging all these layers to a new layer by hitting Command-Shift-Option-E. That would be Control-Shift-Alt-E on the PC. And then going Image Adjustments and choosing to desaturate this layer. So it's going to make it black and white. Great. Then we'll go Filter, Other, High Pass. And here in High Pass, well, you know what, 2.5 actually would probably be good. We want something that gives us some decently strong haloing around the edges. I think 2.5, I'm going to roll with that. And then I would set this layer to like soft light. And it just gives us a nice little like kick of sharpening that really helps set everything off and really, really completes this effect for us. That's right. After all of those steps, finally, we have created this. Now, if you do create this and you like it, I would love it if you would upload it to Instagram, tag me in the Instagram post, like actually in the image, though, not just the description of the image, because that stuff goes away. If you tag me in the image, it goes to my tagged photos, and I can see it, and I'll never miss it. I can show you a little bit of love, give you a comment, you know, that kind of stuff. See the work you're doing. Also, join the Discord, and you can share over there as well. I'll have the Discord URL pop up on screen here as well. So, guys, that's going to be it for this one. For working with all these paths and all these layer styles and all these different colors and everything that went into making this glowy, glass-looking PlayStation 4 controller. Guys, that's it. Get it, got it, good. Nathaniel Dodson, tutvid.com. I'll catch you in the next one. And before you go, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more great tutorials every day. Also, buy my course. It helps us do what we do, and this channel is supported by viewers just like you. You can also just click the thumbnail and watch another video from this channel. See you next time, guys.